North Korea just shocked the world with what they're building. But the real story isn't just a hidden submarine base or a bigger nuclear plant. It's about a bold gamble to rewrite the rules of global power. In the past year alone, they've carved the world's first 800-meter military tunnel under open sea, fitted out new ballistic missile submarines, and tripled uranium output at a once-neglected complex, forcing out inspectors in just 48 hours. This is more than a secret buildup. It's a transformation from coastal defense to full-spectrum threat. If you think you know North Korea's limits, the next 10 minutes will make you question everything. Here's how it began. At Sinpo, the transformation begins with raw granite and relentless ambition. Where there was once a single exposed submarine pen, construction crews have blasted and carved into the coastline, creating what North Korean engineers claim is the largest underground naval dock in the country's history. 2 new dry docks now anchor the site, shielded from satellite eyes and coastal storms. The centerpiece, a tunnel said to stretch 800 meters beneath the East Sea, stands as a feat of engineering that few outsiders believed possible. Official state broadcasts hail the achievement as a triumph of the people. But internal reports tell a different story. Medical logs leaked by defectors document at least 14 fatal cave-ins during the most intense phases of granite blasting. Injuries and deaths are recorded as heroic sacrifices, with families receiving little more than posthumous medals and ration coupons. Laborers, many young or politically suspect, were pressed into round-the-clock shifts with minimal safety gear. Satellite imagery from 2024 shows the Hero Kim Kun-oki submarine, North Korea's answer to the world's ballistic missile boats, moved from its ceremonial launch berth into the new dry dock for fitting out. The vessel's hull, bristling with 10 missile tubes, is visible only in fleeting glimpses between security canopies. US and Japanese surveillance aircraft track every movement in and out of the basin, aware that a single successful launch from these waters could alter the balance of naval power in Northeast Asia. At the center of the project is a man known to the outside world only as Vice Admiral Pak Yong-chol. According to defector testimony, Pak operated under direct orders from Kim Jong-un, enduring regular site inspections and the threat of instant disgrace. After a COVID-19 construction pause in 2022, Pak vanished from public view. His fate uncertain, his family's letters hinting at both pride and fear. For North Korea, the Sinpo base is more than a military asset. It's a symbol of what can be achieved and what must be risked in the pursuit of deterrence. At Yongbyon, the future of North Korea's nuclear arsenal is being forged behind concrete and razor wire. In the past 4 years, 3 new uranium enrichment halls have risen along the southern edge of the complex, each designed to house 5,000 centrifuges spinning day and night. The halls stretch more than 100 meters, their blue steel roofs visible in satellite images. But what happens inside is known only to a select few. One of them is the plant manager, a career technocrat whose daily challenge is to keep every cascade running despite shortages and sanctions. He oversees a workforce that rotates in 12-hour shifts, maintaining vacuum pumps, monitoring feedstock, and repairing aging electrical gear with whatever parts can be smuggled in from abroad. The scale of the operation is staggering. With the new halls running at full capacity, Yongbyon could now produce between 80 and 300 kilograms of highly enriched uranium every year. That's enough for at least half a dozen new warheads, possibly more if the regime pushes the machines to their limits. The plant's output is not limited to uranium. Just north of the enrichment halls, a 50-megawatt thermal reactor is nearing completion, purpose-built to churn out plutonium for a parallel stream of weapons fuel. This is a leap from the modest 5-megawatt research reactor that once produced only grams of material each year. Now, Yongbyon is shifting from pilot-scale experiments to industrial-scale warhead production. International inspectors are no longer welcome. In September 2009, IAEA teams were escorted out of the complex in a single day. Within hours, construction crews poured concrete and expanded security perimeters. Since then, every new building and every plume of steam has been tracked by foreign intelligence. But the true pace of the expansion remains hidden. Each new centrifuge hall gives Pyongyang more leverage at the negotiating table. And every kilogram of fissile material is a silent bargaining chip. For the men and women inside Yongbyon, the work is relentless, the pressure unyielding, and the consequences of failure unthinkable. On the eastern shore, bulldozers and concrete mixers have replaced fishing boats. The Wonsan-Kalma Special Tourist Zone now sprawls across what used to be quiet coastal villages. North Korean officials boast of a 2,500-hectare resort, with 7 luxury hotels, ski slopes, amusement parks, and a deep-water marina already 65% complete. The plan calls for 1,200 hotel rooms and a marina capable of docking superyachts, an offering meant to lure wealthy tourists from China, Russia, and Southeast Asia. But behind the glossy renderings and state media fanfare, the real story is written in the lives uprooted to clear the way. In early 2022, the fishing hamlet of Songdawan vanished from satellite images in less than a week. Residents remember a morning when police and militia blocked the waterfront. Bulldozers lined the main road, and families were summoned to a meeting. Relocation meant a cramped prefab apartment far from the sea, with a small cash payment that barely covered moving costs. Some families were split, the elderly assigned to group dormitories, and a handful tried to protest. Security agents watched for dissent. Those who returned found their old homes leveled and the shoreline fenced off. The regime claims the project will bring hard currency and jobs, shielding the country from sanctions. But the money flows through a maze of shell companies and shadow banks. At least $400 million has been routed through Chinese and Russian channels since 2015, according to leaked financial records. Payments are disguised as logistics or industrial contracts, making it nearly impossible for international monitors to trace the true source or destination. Some of these funds are quietly diverted to other strategic projects, including the DMZ rail corridor and military construction. Environmental damage is already visible. Dredging for the marina has clouded the water and stripped away local fish habitats, while coastal erosion threatens what remains of the natural shoreline. Official assessments insist the impact is minimal, but outside scientists track falling fish stocks and rising sediment. The luxury resort may soon stand finished, but its foundations are built on broken communities and a coastline forever changed. Freight trains once stopped at the southern edge of the DMZ and went no further. Now, work crews and demining teams are pushing a new corridor north, 750 kilometers of track, stretching from Busan through the heart of North Korea to the Chinese border at Sinuiju. Every meter of rail must be cleared of mines, with the highest density of demining operations ever recorded for a single project. Official reports confirm 24 casualties since 2019, including 5 fatalities and 19 severe injuries. Some teams use state-of-the-art sensors, while others, on the northern side, still rely on manual probes and human chains. The engineering challenge is as daunting as the security risk. Bridges and tunnels account for 120 kilometers of the route, rebuilt or reinforced to handle 25-ton axle loads, enough for the heaviest modern freight. Concrete spans cross the Imjin River, and new tunnels burrow beneath the old front lines. Each structure must withstand not just the weight of cargo, but the threat of sabotage and sudden closure. Funding arrives in irregular bursts, routed through shell companies in Dandong and Moscow, and construction often stalls when regime priorities shift or foreign currency dries up. The payoff, if the line opens, is enormous. Current Asia to Europe rail shipments take up to 28 days, winding through Siberia or across China. The DMZ corridor could cut that time by as much as 2 weeks, making Korean transit the fastest land route between East Asia and Europe. Freight could reach Beijing or Moscow in 4 days, with onward delivery to Berlin or Rotterdam in under 10. North Korea stands to collect lucrative switching fees and energy transit rights, But the same corridor could also serve as a military invasion route, raising alarms in Seoul and Washington. Every kilometer completed is a step toward economic leverage, and a new flashpoint in a region where the border has never been just a line on a map. In less than a decade, North Korea has expanded Yongbyon with 3 new uranium enrichment halls and a 50-megawatt reactor, while Sinpo's 2 underground dry docks and the unprecedented 800-meter granite tunnel now support sea-launched ballistic missile operations. These projects mark a shift from isolated coastal defense to an industrialized multi-domain deterrent. At the same time, the 2,500-hectare Wonsan-Kalma resort and the 750-kilometer DMZ rail corridor show how Pyongyang uses infrastructure to secure hard currency and reshape trade routes. Yet, much remains hidden. The full extent of submarine deployments, the precise output of uranium, and the sources of opaque financing are still classified or unknown. What is clear, documented by satellite imagery and agency reports, is that North Korea's strategic construction has raised the stakes for Northeast Asia. As new facilities come online, their dual-use potential and proven ability to evade sanctions ensure that these projects, military, nuclear, and economic, will continue to shape regional security and global diplomacy.